just say the word. I know there's just a few slides.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're gonna move into our presentation for today, which is a little bit about the Farm to Institution New England Summit for 2021. And we have Dana Stevens, who's the project and event manager for FINE. I feel like I won't do a little bio, Dana. You might talk a little bit about yourself, but got lots of roots in Connecticut, lives in Connecticut, is a Food Corps fellow, used to actually run these meetings. In fact, the template that we used for the agenda was one that Dana created like 4 or 5 years ago. So you're still here with us even when you're not in this meeting. So thanks for joining us today. And I also want to note that Nairi, our own Nairi, is on the steering committee that's involved with informing and planning this event too. So they're both gonna tag team this year and maybe get a little bit of help from some other folks in the room. And then before I pass it off, I just wanna recognize that Kalila Booker-Gasano from the Kendall Foundation is here. Thanks so much for joining us, Kalila. The Kendall Foundation provides generous support for both the FINE Summit and the collaborative and Food Corps as well. Great.
Thanks, Dawn. Hi, everybody. It's really nice to be here. As Dawn mentioned, I used to be part of this group early on, and y'all have done so much work and expanded, and it's just been really amazing to see the progress that has happened since before I had a kid and was able to participate in the meetings. And I'm super excited about the bill that's being considered by the Education Committee today. That's really awesome work. So kudos to you all. Yes, I used to be part of the Food Corps team here in Connecticut. I used to be part of the Put Local on Your Tray project out of Yukon Extension with JIF. And I do live in New Haven still in my current role as the project and event manager at Farm to Institution New England. So thanks for having me, and I'm excited to share a little bit about the summit with you, and also wanted to mention that Kalila is also part of our amazing steering committee for this summit, which maybe is a good place to start. So a lot of people call this the FINE Summit, which is fine, but it really is a much broader representation of the network. It's not just FINE saying like, here's a summit for you, but we have this amazing steering committee of partners across the region that help us put this together. And we have more than, I think, 120 presenters that are practitioners in all sectors of the Farm to Institution network across the region that have put together some amazing programming for this event. So it really is a really nice representation of the Farm to Institution work that's happening in New England. And this year, as you can imagine, it will be virtual. It's our 4th biennial event. We do this summit every 2 years. And this year we're really, we've included our New York neighbors. So we're calling it, whereas it used to be called the New England Farm to Institution Summit, now we're calling it the Northeast Farm to Institution Summit. So we have a really exciting little promo video that we put together. And Dawn, I don't know, do you have the ability to play that for everybody? That could be fun.
Yeah, I think so. I meant to test it and didn't, so we'll see.
All right.
Hold on a sec. Is it the one that's on the?
It should be
this one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's see. Can you hear it?
Thanks. Our amazing communications manager, Sarah Lyman, put that together, and we've been having a lot of fun. It definitely like gets us jazzed up with the music. So as you could see from the video, you know, while it is a virtual event, we have done a lot to build in opportunities for networking and connecting with other attendees. So it's not going to be just a series of you know, lectures, but we have a whole platform that really facilitates those connections and really emphasizes sort of the participant autonomy. So you can jump between sessions, you can have a side conversation with somebody who's another participant and get their contact information. There will be networking opportunities and breakout sessions within each of the sessions themselves. So, you know, we are hoping that like the in-person event, there are a lot of one-on-one connections and idea sharing and really a lot of energy going into you know, giving us all the tools and the ideas and the resources to propel the work that we're doing forward into the future. So I encourage you all to look at the website. The full agenda is on the website. There are a lot of cross-sector sessions that I'm not going to talk about today because I know this is a farm to school group, but just want to mention that, you know, beyond the sessions that we're talking about today that are specific to the farm to school track, there could be a lot there that, you know, might be interesting around policy, you know, depending on what action team you're a part of or work group, what your priorities are. There could be a lot of content outside of the farm to school track that might be useful to your work. John, you can go to the next slide. So this is just a sample of some of the farm to school specific sessions that we have that we're offering. The USDA folks from AMS are presenting on the local food system grant program. There are sessions about you know, building in resilience and sustainability into your farm to school programs. A couple sessions targeting early childcare centers. We're going to get a sneak peek of the USDA farm to school census, the latest one that has been run. And our partners in Vermont, you know, that have been doing amazing farm to school work for years and years, are going to help organize a policy session for farm to school folks specifically. And then we also have folks from the National Farm to School Network that are going to be talking about policy innovations at the district and state level as well. So again, that's just a sample. And one other thing that I'll mention before handing it over to Nairi is that because this is a virtual event, when you register and sign up, you actually have access to all of the content all of the recordings for up to 6 months beyond the live event. So if you see something that looks interesting to you, but you can't make the live session, I would encourage you to sign up anyway, and you can access those recordings later on. So Don, you can go to the next slide. We've also been continuing our work, emphasizing and building in more justice and equity to the summit. And that has shown up in a couple of different ways. And Nairi and Kalila have been heavily involved and supportive of those efforts. So Nairi is going to talk a little bit about some of the ways that that is showing up at the summit.
Yeah, thanks, Dana. So there are a few presentations that are listed here that speak to the equity and justice part that Dana was just speaking of, but also there's a lot of specific Connecticut representation in these presentations too. So the first one I'll speak about is the trauma-informed practices in farm to school. That's not Connecticut focused, that's coming out of Vermont, but it is farm to school focused, and it's also highlighting youth. And this presentation is going to be about Vermont youth sharing their lived experiences with trauma and food security. So we just thought to touch on that because that is a strong, okay, thanks, Sean. That is a strong equity and justice focus, like in the cafeteria. And then the next one is the transformation of farm to school from service to racial justice. And this one is, this presentation is going to be facilitated by our very own Jiff, who's coming out of Connecticut, with Crystal from the National Farm to School Network and Karen Spangler. And Jiff, I'll pass it to you a little bit for a little bit if you want to give some more context to what this presentation is about.
Sure. We're using this time to give some space to look at the tools and the guidance leadership coming from the National Farm to School Network, and then using Connecticut, and depending on who else is in the room, as an example of, what are some sort of things that we have done or struggled with, done right, done wrong, in our efforts to center racial equity in our work. And so it's a two-part, it's on the first day and the third day. So the first part will probably be a little bit more on the presentation side, and the second part will probably be a little bit more on the discussion side, but that's what we're up to. Thanks.
Thanks, Jiff. And I'm so sorry. I wish I would have read a little bit more about the Indigenous Foodways and Farm to Institution, but this is something that I'm really looking forward to. I don't know if there's a strong Connecticut focus here either. I don't think so, but this is really exciting, and I'm looking forward to learning more about this presentation. And I'm gonna go to meet the farmers. So I'm seeing the trend. The ones that are starred are the Connecticut focus ones. Sorry, I missed that. But I'll pass it to Lauren because Lauren's on the call to speak more about her presentation.
Hi, everyone. So we're really excited about this presentation because the hope is to really recognize some of those key players who are doing that farm to institution work in the greater Hartford area. We are going to discuss some of our experiences, some obstacles, and some shared solutions that we use together to be successful. We also are going to have a couple garden tours. We're going to play a game. And then we're going to work to develop a collaborative model for everyone to work together and that the audience can kind of take home and apply to their own work. So it's going to be exciting.
Thanks, Lauren. Such good energy. And then the BIPOC breakfast, Kalila and I are going to be co-hosting that together. And Kalila, I'll pass it to you to talk a little bit more about that.
Sure. Thanks, Nairi. So, when we were thinking about ways to bring in more justice and equity in the summit, one of the things that came up was having a specific space for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And I don't know if either Nairi or Dana, you have that article, but that could be interesting to pop into the chat. But Nairi and I kind of had a few calls to think about this and have decided that we're going to have a BIPOC breakfast. So every morning before the summit, if you've looked at the agenda at all, there are some kind of casual networking time. And so we're taking over one of those times, and we'll have a little Zoom room just for people of color only in that space to talk about really anything that's come up over the summit, any, networking, informal networking that wants to happen at that time, and just a space to be in community. So it's a very unstructured hour, just to let it kind of be whatever it needs to be. And we purposefully put it on the third day of the summit just so that there can be some space for reflection as well. So I'm really excited to continue planning that with Nairi and to have lots of people show up is my hope. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Kalila. And Lauren just put in the chat too that Zania Johnson, who's also here today, will be a part of the Meet the Farmers presentation with Lauren and some other folks from Connecticut too. So hey, Zania. All right. So we'll move on from this section, and I'm gonna pass it to Jiff to talk about how the Farm to School Collaborative is sponsoring some tickets.
Yeah, so we called the director of Fine and worked out a deal. We are sponsoring the event. The Connecticut Farm to School Collaborative is sponsoring the event. And in return for that, we have 10 tickets. So when Dawn sends out the minutes and all the links from today's meetings, we will include in that a link to sign up to request one of those 10 tickets. We will give priority to folks of color. So keep an eye out for that. We certainly want to take and use all those 10 tickets. I hope there's about 20 of us that want to go, but let's make sure we assign these 10 tickets quickly. And so we know who's all set and who still needs help getting there.
Great. Thank you, Jiff. And if you have any additional questions about that, feel free to reach out to myself or Dawn about those tickets. All right. Dana, I'll pass it back to you, just in case we want to add anything else.
Sure. Yeah, it's just really exciting to see so many folks on the call that are part of this. Really underscores that this really is a network event. So yeah, if you have questions about registration, beyond the tickets, let me know. We're happy to help you register. There is a sliding scale fee, so lots of options depending on what you're able to afford. And if you are on social media and want to help us spread the word, we really appreciate that. We have a whole media toolkit that has some fun graphics and some pre-formulated language that you can copy and paste and tell your friends and colleagues that you're attending the summit and what you're excited about. And yeah, thank you in advance. It's been really nice to be with you all today. I also have to jump off in a couple minutes, but just appreciate having some time to talk about this and hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Dana. We appreciate you coming today. And as Jiff said, I hope that a lot of folks on the call would like to go to this summit. And yes, good luck with baby number 2, as Jiff just said.
Thank you.